Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Press Start to Play. This is one of the most special episodes we've ever done with the largest cast ever. It's because we're going to discuss the Game of the Year 2020. 2020 has been an interesting year for everyone. All of us have played a lot of video games in the meantime, and so we have a lot of opinions. So this time, since we are on the podcast and we are all connecting virtually, I thought why not have a battle royale for all the games that we played this time and decide the top 5 games from a roster of different good games, right? For that battle royale, let me go through the table and let's introduce everyone. I have Jay, I have Sushir, I have Manas,
Hey.
I have Tanushri, and I have Upar. Okay, now what are we going to do in this episode? So before this episode, we all kind of pulled in the different games that we think are worthy of being called Game of the Year, at least worthy of nominations of being called the Game of the Year. And in this particular podcast, we're going to sit down and talk about the different games and basically justify why that game should be on the list of the top 5. Once we have hopefully by the end of the show, we'll have a list of 5 games that we want to see nominated in the Game of the Year, and then we're going to have another smaller episode later to finally discuss the winner from all of them. Right?
Yes.
So, without further ado, who wants to go first?
Well, I just realized कि we're bringing down a list of 20 games to 5 and there are 6 people, so there is a chance कि एक बंदे का game हो ही ना list में. I just realized.
None of his games.
Yeah,
none of his games.
Yeah, unless कि there's
Jay,
like a
I
common
think Jay.
game. You know that two people like. Jay's already whispering names that he wants to see killed off.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised there is an Ubisoft game on that list, to be honest,
Yeah.
like this time. But our last 3 podcasts have been filled with Valhalla information, virtual download. So I'm really, really looking forward to your, justifications and Jay's counter to those justifications.
Okay.
Right? So who wants to go first, guys?
Okay, so on the top 20 list, we have from Gameffine, we have, on the order, we have Doom Eternal, votes by Ayush and Jay. We have Yakuza, like a dragon, vote by Jay. We have Hades, the name has been folded by Tanushri. We have Roki, that's another game by Jay. We have Ori and the Will of the Wisps, that's by Manas. We have Ultra Kill by Jay. Then there is, of course, Ghostrunner, that's by me and Opar. Final Fantasy VII Remake, votes by Ayush and Tanushri. Then there is Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
Manas and Ayush both have voted for it.
Good game.
Then there is Among Us, vote by Opar. Then we have Call of Duty Warzone, that's a vote by me. Then comes in Miles Morales, a vote by Ayush. Xenoblade Chronicles DX, vote by Tanushri. Flight Simulator 2020, a surprise entry by Manas. Assassin's Creed Valhalla by Upar and Manas. Then we have the Samurai Game of the Year, apparently.
And not Samurai Jack back in time.
By Ayush. Then we have the pandemic phenomena and Animal Crossing New Horizons by Tanushri. Then we have Spiritfarer by Upar and me. Then Genshin Impact by Manas, and then lastly Half-Life Alyx by me.
That's a strong list, man. I'm not sure about Among Us though. Like that was a game last year that came out.
I mean, 2018, right?
2018, right?
Right.
But
Yeah. Why not Fall Guys?
I think Upar suggested it, na, so he'll have to defend.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right,
in my
getting right
defense,
into it, Upar. Why is it?
Right.
Why is Among Us on this list?
क्या है भैया?
we can compare, okay? We can compare. Fall Guys currently is now working fine, and it's not because server upgrade हुआ, server वही है. There's list have dropped down. The concurrent players. Season 1 में there was hype. Season 2, I'm like I don't even get new season 2 में हो क्या रहा है. As far as Among Us goes, they cancelled Among Us 2 for Among Us. So basically, now whatever the work goes in, it's going on the Among Us Original one, and there's like consistent growth. Like even now, it's growing, not dropping. Sale aa rahi hai, it like purchases have gone up. Like, of course, people play it in mobile because mobile is free, but in the PC it's going ever up. So yeah.
But like उस केस में तो फिर Witcher 3 has been a game of the year for the past 5 years. ऐसा थोड़ी ना कर सकते हैं. We cannot do this.
But I think it's because in 28 में कोई भी is
कोई नहीं खेला उस game.
no one even know it existed. So it's like it got like a fresh start.
Also, I think it
ठीक है.
kicked
अच्छा,
off like the social deduction wala genre also, na, like more not exactly rip-offs. Like I think Deceit जैसे games were already there, but some other games like Space, a game called Space Crew. That also came out recently. Pretty good actually. वैसे Among Us जैसे games ना, like Space Crew is pretty much Among Us का like 3D version, and with a lot of depth. So I think other games also come up. कि Among Us का influence I think is showing up more this year. Even though none of those games like got made this year, na, like they were in development for a while. So I don't want to.
I actually want to take a vote whether we should include Among Us in this list or not. Okay, so I'm going to say nay.
मैं तो यार
I'm going to say nay. So that's 3 nays. Sushir, what do you-
Oparis
I think it should be in the list.
Oh, okay.
2 against 4. Democracy.
नहीं, I don't think we don't need to vote it out. Like अगर
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But
you
you
know,
know, it's-
voting
I just
out
think,
and
like,
you're going to
if he
vote
wants to
Among
pick
Us out.
He wants to pick up a multiplayer. He wants to pick up a multiplayer game, you know, which has been popular. I think there are other options. There is one that we discussed offline. I'm not going to say that because so that it takes time.
yeah.
Okay, but let's say Among Us is on that list, right? Let's not get into it before we get into it. What's the first game on the list, Sushir?
Let's start with Doom Eternal, votes by Ayush and Jay.
They want to
Let's
go
see how
first?
you can defend it.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, you guys all know me. I'm a huge Doom fan. So I've been playing every Doom game since an eternity, probably since when we are like 6 or something. So we have seen a lot of games, a lot of old games that failed to come back. You know, like Duke Nukem Forever, Rise of the Triad, and all that. Like they tried to remake the simple, you know, over-the-top, fast-paced gameplay, the old-school gameplay from the 90s to the modern standards, but it didn't live up. So Duke Nukem Forever is infamous. So like, let's keep it short because obviously we all know how good Doom Eternal is, and so it's one of those few reimaginings that actually embrace the legacy of the series. So you know, back in the 90s there was like a goofy ass comic about Doom. It was so silly, so over the top, and that's where that rip and tear tagline of the Doom comes from. It's just super silly. And you have all these Doom games. You have like less critically acclaimed one like Doom 3. So what Eternal did was took all of that, took like almost 30 years of legacy and like made it to one super awesome canon. Like, I know Doom games are known for their story, but this time the story is actually pretty decent, and it's like sometimes it's like a Saturday morning cartoon. So like Doom guy like hates demons because they killed his bunny, which is called Daisy. And yeah, it's like
There's
totally,
like John Wick.
yeah. And like
Wait, is that the story in
but
Doom
when
Eternal?
it comes to the gameplay, it's like Doom 2016 was already very good, but there was already so many faults. Like you can complete the game with like the super shotgun if you want, but Doom Eternal is like highly frantic, highly chaotic at the same time, very much tactical. And the preferred way to play most Doom games is the ultra violence setting, but in Doom Eternal, ultra violence is like really pushes your limit and like really makes you like notice things and be on the lookout for everything. And while the all-out action is going on, like it's super fast, not as fast as like Dusk or something, but it's very fast. And like enemies have weak points. Not all weapons work against all enemies, and you have to be complete attention. And like what ties to everything together down is the quality. Like weapons feel amazing. The dismember system is like one of the best this year, along with Last of Us Part 2. And weapon feel good to use. The level design is impeccable, and the soundtrack by Mick Gordon, man, that's like pure heavenly stuff. So I don't think there's need to be much reason for Doom Eternal to be GOTY other than all the things I've just mentioned. It's like a really polished, content-packed single-player campaign, and there's even some newly added like platforming mechanics, and some people even compare some of the levels to Mario ones, with all the rotating, flaming thingies and shit. And it's like they really embrace the goofiness of it. And like when you change your enemies, the supplies drop in like rainbow colors, yellow, green, and stuff. At the same time, it's very highly chaotic, very tactical. They didn't sacrifice the gameplay, but managed to like tie together all the Doom games into one, embrace the legacy. Like Doom was actually partially based on like Aliens, Predator, all the macho action movies of the 80s, then the Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness. So like Doom Eternal is basically that. It is basically the original Doom if the original it get to make it in 2020. It's like very super quality stuff. I don't know what more to say. It's like amazing. Like everyone should play it. It's a little bit on the hardcore side, I should say. Like it's kind of unforgiving at first, but you get to like while you're moving across the map, it's like super speed. You get to notice things. You get to switch weapons on the fly and everything. It's just awesome stuff, man. That's basically it. That's one of my criteria for being GOTY, man. Like it should be GOTY because it is. That's like.
Or like Jay said, like in 2016 you would play through the entire game with a shotgun, and if you wanted to, you could play it through the different weapon. Just use that single weapon and play through it.
Yeah.
So that kind of chaotism actually appealed to me because I do not want to bend to the the appeal of the developers and like. But this one, it felt like there were parts in Doom Eternal where I felt stuck, even though the pace was really quick. Like like I had to figure out jump, get it, and like to go there and kill this one quick enough in like 3 seconds or 2 seconds. I'm exaggerating, but you have to abide to a very strict pattern to get through a level. So so I felt that is something that stops Doom from becoming such a great game or such a big game, or like the GOTY, because it appeals to that, like Jay said, and he's walked up after.
As soon as he heard that, I'm done.
Doom Eternal not coming into the list, I'm done. But yeah, I think like it misses that part where it is appealing to a certain audience, and like it doesn't let you play the way you want to. It forces you to play the way developers wanted you to play the game.
Yeah, but I remember really liking Doom 2016 and thinking that Doom Eternal was better in almost every way. Even though people have said that like who are more hardcore fans have said that like Doom 2016 had some things better. But I think for the most part, even everybody agrees that like uska platforming stuff and the challenges, the puzzles and all, the combat puzzles even like they're deeper in many ways. Especially I think with like more enemy weak points and more weapon variety. Yeah, it does have more depth. वो तो है. Of course, Doom 2016 का intro was like so epic with that elevator scene and all.
Exactly. If this was Doom 16 we were talking about as a GOTY contender, I would have gone for it. Like because it made me feel like super badass.
I think वो second time वाला वो ना, like we have already seen it once. This is better, but of course that first time वाला impact नहीं है. तो maybe that's why. Jay, we're figuring out how to take Doom Eternal off the list, man.
The best way to get Doom out of the list, even though I completely like it, is like chess on steroids. I've seen people play it. It's fantastic. The only way to get it out is like by telling Ayush that Doom is now a Microsoft product. So that's done. He's going to vote it out right away.
Is it on Game Pass?
It's done for.
Yeah, it actually is.
It's on Game Pass now. Yes. So
we just
it
need to wait
definitely
for
goes
like exactly home of like. What is that indie shit going around? Like he said Mario.
But there's still a chance that it will come. Like obviously, most of the multi-platform titles will still come to PS5. Yeah? Like it's too big to ignore. The player base.
Yeah, I hope so. And the way Microsoft is going, who knows? But I don't know, man. Like Doom, just like it feels like one kind of experience. Like that's one thing that I feel. It's just FPS. And full paced FPS. That's what I feel about that game.
But I think for that, like for a very focused thing, like AAA development तो होता ही नहीं है almost. Like you'll find a lot of indie games like Proteus and other stuff in that vein. Like in Doom Eternal,
FPS में होता ही नहीं है. There's always something bullshit going on with other games. Like Rage 2, for example, even though published by Bethesda. Like there's some stuff added to appeal to the mass. It's not the quality is not there, Like some parts feel like it's out there for people who are not actually interested in the first place to go play it. But Doom is just purely dedicated to the fans. At the same time, anyone can play it. Yeah, like I don't know. It's like they don't make them like like this anymore.
Yeah.
All right. So we have discussed two. What's the next game on the list, Ashir?
Hades by Tanushri.
Yes, this is the game I want to hear about.
Yeah.
I really have nothing but praises about the game. I've literally been like telling all my friends like, hey, you should go and play Hades. Buy the game. It's on Steam and everything, and it's made by Supergiant Games, who I mean, this is not their first rodeo. Obviously, they've done Bastion, they've done Pyre, they've done Transistor, but I'd say this one is really their it's their magnum opus, I'd say. And you can really see it in the way that what they did with the game is that they released it on Steam's early access, and by granting the access to their player base, they basically perfected and improved upon what they already built into the game, and that's how they just brought in like a bunch of quality of life features and everything. And it's really everything's perfect. Whether that's gameplay, that's dialogue, the narrative, even just the visuals and everything. It's really just perfect. I don't really have anything bad to say about it, and it's been nothing but a delight on the Switch.
So how do they dish out the story?
So the story is based upon Greek mythology, and basically what they've done is they've taken, well, the game's name is Hades, but you actually play as Zagreus, who is his son. So he's a bit of a rebel, wants to get out of his own house, wants to explore the rest of the world and everything. And he's not on very good terms with his father. So in order to get out of the underworld that is like basically hell, he resorts to the help of the Olympians, who help get him out of there by giving him what they call boons, which are basically like buffs to your attacks and your weapons and everything. And they've done like a really, really good job of crafting the world and the atmosphere of it by like introducing a lot of familiar heroes, like we have Achilles, or we have Zeus, or there's Sisyphus. So in a way, if you're familiar with the myths, you will like immediately be comfortable with the entire thing. But even if you're someone who's new to it, the story explains like their backstory, what their origins were and everything, like who they were, in a manner that is really welcoming to someone who just isn't aware of the myths and everything.
But like in other Supergiant games like Bastion, yeah, even this one Pyre and all, like it's like a progressing story, right? Like you're always making progress, and like this is a roguelike, so you keep dying. So narratively, is the story still interesting? Yeah, repetitive nahi lagta? Like, do you go through a lot of the paces again and again?
That's what also was my worry. Like, I think the case with a lot of roguelikes is that it tends to get repetitive, but they've done something really unique with the dialogue system, which there's a lot of like in-depth articles about that. But whenever you die, what happens is that what happens is that your collectibles stay intact with you, so you can use that to power up and everything. But then you will encounter like new enemies and different bosses. So as you get stronger, your enemies also get stronger. But then the more knowledge that you gain, you can use that to open up like new dialogue and everything. And you can build like relationships with the other Olympians and everything, and get to know more about them by gifting them things. So nothing really gets repetitive, I'd say. It's really hard to explain. You really just have to play it and see for yourself to truly understand. But no, it never gets new.
Okay, like I did play maybe like 3-4 hours of it, like back when it was first like in early access on the Epic Store. लेकिन I remember, I do remember कि मतलब मजा आया था खेलने में, but maybe like I haven't seen all the content that came out in like the years, but like the hype for it right now, I don't get it honestly. Like even though I have confidence in Supergiant कि they can make an amazing game. Like Pyre I really like, Bastion I really like, Transistor I didn't like play as much for some reason, though I've heard it's good. But I just don't see what is that good about Hades. Like, I mean, of course, like I'm also missing out on a lot of the updates. But and I do think it feels good. But I don't know. Maybe this like Pyre was amazing. Like I loved Pyre. Like everything they did to the story and the visuals. Hades ka the best thing that I really like is the way the character animates. Like the way he pushes. Like it's so damn cool that. The dude's animation is so cool. Like I thought they did an amazing job. They know style, Supergiant, but pata nahi, I mean, didn't hook me that much for some reason.
Maybe you're not a fan of roguelikes.
Welcome back.
Is it a roguelike or a roguelite?
It's like they say it's a roguelike, right? But in roguelikes, you don't actually keep any of your upgrades or whatever after you die. But in Hades, you keep some, right? That's like, so it's like a heavy tint of roguelike with just a lot of roguelite mechanics, if that makes any sense.
Right. So, but if it's so good, why is it not on the most popular platform of all time, the PS4?
Maybe you should ask Sony that.
No, because like Transistor wasn't exclusive, right? I know this is not a criticism of the game, especially because some of my nominations are PS4 exclusive. So you know, so I'm not going to bring that battle up.
Where is your PS5?
Dude, I don't keep it here. That was for that one particular episode, you know.
Reflex.
No, you can have a box as a like award. Like, holy shit, I got the PS4.
Let me see.
Do you sleep with it near your pillow or something? Like hug it out.
There you go.
It's bigger than Ayush, man. That box.
Are you happy? Are you happy now?
Yeah. Yes. Then we can move on.
I have a question for Tarush. Like, what does sets it apart? Like, you know, like why Hades should be Game of the Year material? Like, apart from all the 20 games that we have in our list, and like there has been roguelikes before, right? And there have been branching storylines before too. Like, what makes Hades a Game of the Year contender?
So it's really a game that I feel everyone can play because they made it accessible to anyone, regardless if you're not like really like a hardcore gamer. So they have like a more easy mode for you if you get like frustrated with dying, which I really didn't. But if you do feel like, oh, you know, the game's a bit too hard for me, then you can always just tone down the intensity. But also if you're someone who likes things on the more intense side, then you can also like enable, I believe it's called Hell Mode, which it enables a bunch of other things like packs of punishment and everything. But what I really thought was outstanding was how they perfected the game and just how in tune the developers were with the community, because there's also like a speedrunning community around Hades, and in most cases like developers would just like, you know, take a backseat and just like let the players do their own thing, but they really engage with their community. And there was this one video on IGN where like the developers reacted to people speedrunning it, and usually they'd be like, oh, you know, this is impossible, like how can they do that? But instead they were like, oh yeah, we know this person, we've seen him do like stuff a few other times, and they talked about their own times, like how fast their speedrun was and everything. So they have taken the time to craft the game to absolute perfection, whether that's like the music, whether it's the voice acting. The voice acting, I mean, it's I feel like characters would not be the way they are if it were not for their voice acting. It's really just impeccable, and the developers have made the best use of all their resources, because not only is like the composer in charge of like the music and everything, but he's also voiced the main character and stuff. So it really is just pushing the limits of a game developing and everything. And it. I mean, if you know, it's not a small studio or anything. I mean, I know Supergiant is like kind of partially an indie studio at this point, but like the caliber at which they've made their game, I feel like it really sets a standard for, you know, the other AAA companies out there. Like, this is the benchmark, you know.
I see.
Okay.
I think on a side note, like Supergiant Games is ready to make that leap from being an indie to like from a single A or double A to a triple A, proper triple A, you know, just like CDPR
Yeah.
did. I think they're ready to make that leap. Though I don't know if Hades is the way to do it, because as good as it is, I don't. It's not that, you know, multi-mass popular culture event that other games are,
Yeah.
And it's not on PS4.
and it's not on the PS4. I mean, what the hell, man?
So going from games with mass appeal, you know, we come to Yakuza Like a Dragon by Jay.
Oh man, this game. Okay, I will say this. This game is not going on the list, dude.
Why?
This is just Jay's weebness coming through.
I hate deep stuff. I hate deep
No, I've heard actually good things about Like a Dragon. A lot
Yeah,
of
it's
good
like,
things.
I mean, when they announced that, you know, the first, I think it was last April Fool's joke, the team made a video about the game being like turn-based combat, and everyone was like, yeah, it's like April
Lost
Fool's
their
video.
shit.
Then they, yeah, actually announced it, and including me, I hated it. Like, I loved the brawler gameplay of the Yakuza 0, Kiwami and all that. But it was just from to turn-based, I mean, Japanese studios don't make a lot of games like Yakuza, you know. I mean, I don't think there's any other Japanese game like Yakuza, because most of the games are like JRPG, you know, a lot of like maybe some are like action RPGs.
That's actually my biggest critic of it. Like Yakuza was probably one of the only Japanese game which was doing this all full-on action arcade adventure stuff, right? And every other Japanese game, if it's it's even going into the RPG, it's tactical turn-based, right? And now Yakuza Dragon, okay, we're going turn-based now. Like we've ran out of developers to make an action.
I mean, I hated it, but then I played all the Yakuza games, you know, the ones that aren't available on the PC, like 3, 4, 5, and like played it all back to back, like 8 games. So they did the 8 or so games with the same combat system, and even though it's like a semi-annualized franchise and there's a lot of factors that carry over, each entry is its own thing, but I have to say I got tired of the combat, you know. Even though the improvements are there, it's just, I don't know, it feels like 8 games. And I mean, can you imagine 8 games?
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed fan, yeah, I know you feel like pain, but still. But then I played it, and actually it's like super good.
Okay, what's next on the list, Sushil? Before Jay comes back.
Let's move forward with we have Manas with Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Oh, shit,
Oh,
that's
I
right.
want to hear this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
What is with this? First of all, I'll say this: another indie Xbox game not getting my vote.
Hey, PC पे भी हाँ, like I'm playing it like mostly on Steam. वैसे I haven't finished Ori and the Will of the Wisps yet, but I do like it a lot. Like I've been playing it since when it released in March. Like so, these are like Ori and Will of the Wisps like Flight Simulator is one of those games that I play on and off. Like जब भी when I'm in between another video or doing something else. So I just if I can't focus on something, really get into it like Valhalla or something, I play Ori, and I really like how ek to it's so easy to get into, like for a platformer especially, and I don't even like platformers as much because mostly for some reason I'm just not that good at them. So but Ori mein I think from the beginning it's very easy to just get into and control and pick up, but also there's a lot of challenge. Like I think especially they do the thing that Miles Morales also does na, ki when you because it's like the second game in the series, so you already have most of the powers in the beginning. The Ori and the Will of the Wisp, you have a lot of powers early on. You can just keep moving very quickly, but you also don't feel overwhelmed. Like they introduce all of it to you quite fairly. Uske alawa, it looks amazing, like all those background animations, and there's a lot of it. I think I'm maybe now like 26 hours into the game. I'm playing very slowly, getting stuck on because whenever I get back to it, मुझे याद ही नहीं होता है कि मैं कहाँ हूँ. So I think that's why it's taken me
You're
that
still
long.
not done with it.
Yeah, still not done with it because I keep forgetting
You probably
where
finished.
exactly I was.
You probably finished Valhalla before it, huh?
Probably, yeah. I mean, almost definitely.
And what does it say about the game if you're not able to finish it?
I mean, it's not that I'm not able to finish it. Like I'm just not, sitting in one go. But usme now that I'm thoda later on in the game, so earlier on the platforming would be you would be moving on like these levels, like uske surface pe you would be moving. Now I'm in levels where like you have to blast through sand. Like there's these tightly packed levels of sand. Usme you need like a booster to even move through them. And then when you move through, like when you come out of the sand ka layer and into the into regular land, so you just blast out of it, and that then becomes a navigation method, like having to jut out of the sand and then pick a find क्या बोलते हैं वो जो एक point that you can vault off again. So that becomes a mechanic. A lot of these systems, I think, especially leading up to a boss fight or escaping from a boss fight, like जो भी previously सीखा होगा ना, like all the platforming that has happened, it all just comes together into like one. Usually games में this would be a chase sequence, but because this is not one of those chase sequences जिसमें just गाड़ी में बैठना है, like jumping off from place to place. Like it's just so coolly presented and done with like amazing music. Even this late into the game, at least I remember all the characters and a lot of the story. कि ना who I'm meeting, what's going on. I do think कि boss fights थोड़े better हो सकते थे. क्योंकि a lot of the boss fights, like I said, because उसके आगे पीछे chase sequence हो जाता है, उसको defeat करने का full, it's not कि you're finishing off the boss का entire health bar all yourself. Like most of the time, like the boss takes a lot of damage, then you kind of run away from him, or there's a chase sequence उसके end में the boss kind of gets stuck in like all the rubble, वैसा वाला situation. But it's still I think pretty cool. Like Ori, yeah, it's मतलब वैसे honestly बोलो तो इस scale पे platformers भी बन नहीं रहे. Like it's not a Moon Studios. I don't know if you would call it full blown AAA, but at least AAA money behind it. Microsoft is funding it. So it's really cool to see वैसा game. I think Ori and the Blind Forest was good. I think Will of the Wisps was better in like I mean it's honestly visually immediately you can notice okay, this is a lot of production went into a game like this. I like it, though I'm not sure if I've convinced you guys.
I don't know. We'll see. So we gone. What's the next game on the list, Sushi?
So the next game on the list is Ghostrunner, and it will be defended by Opar. It has my vote.
Okay.
So Upar, Sushir has basically thrown you to the dogs. He said it has my vote, but Upar is going to defend it.
Sushi will like go for it, boy. कुछ फालतू बोलेगा मैं देखता, but yeah, Ghostrunner. I mean, let me get you to the story of how I started playing. So I started playing when Sushi Bhaiya gave me the game. He gifted me the game based on his account. So I logged into Epic. Epic didn't let me log in. You remember that, Sushi Bhaiya?
Yes.
2FA got broke, so it was the first sign that the game said ki bhai mat khel. So I went to the game and booted it up. For the first 20 minutes, I was disappointed to my core. Like disappointed. Like I don't know what you guys like about games, but me as a kid when I was like 10, 12, like me and my brothers, me and my like elder brother plays a lot of game back in the day, and like our preference was a guy with katana who can just go hack and slash, and Ghostrunner looked only that kind of game. I'm like, holy shit, that's what we're looking for. But then I got in the game and it's like you get shot once, you're dead, you're done, you're good, you're gone for. And like the AIs are like aimbots, like they're gonna 361 tap you, and that was like irritating. For first 15 minutes was like, and for the first like 1 hour 15 minutes there was no like story. There was this weird guy AI who's like, yeah, I'm dead, yeah, you can save me from here, yeah, these guys are bad, you just have to go ahead and kill this. There's no like backbone or spine to the story, and I was like pretty bored. Then after a few levels, we got out of the basement, we got out to the like higher towers where all this like this open sky, this like neon. Then the game goes from 0 to 100 real quick. The platforming gets really amazing. We get special abilities. The story gets a really good spine. We get to know what's going on. And the enemies type, I mean, there's such a good variety. I mean, it is annoying. On an average, I died 60 to 70 times per level. There was this one boss level, I died like 140 times. Like that Tom one.
So what are the load times like when you die? Like, do you come back in immediately?
No, it's immediate. It's immediate. You
Okay.
press a button, you're back. You're good
Okay.
to go. So there's no like you won't get frustrated as in like Dark Souls. Like you died. I'm like I know I died, but yeah. So it's good. Like you mess up, it's good. The best thing about it, the game allows you to do stuff yourself. Like there's going to be a huge platform. You're like other side of this building. There's like other side of this building. There's like guys guarding with different angles. There's drones. Now it's not just that you can go like straight up. You can go straight up if you're like really confident. You can also find ways around, sneakily get up, get them into a pattern. You can always find pattern. You'll be really satisfied when you find.
Oh, so you
good
can
pattern
flank
of
enemies
killing.
also, like vessel level design.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have
You
to
can.
like जरूरी necessity हो जाता है आगे?
Yeah, if you mess up, like if you have like 2 machine gun guys, 1 like pistol guys, and there's like katana guys, I mean it gets messed up real quick because there's a dense amount of people.
And you
like,
only
really
have a
dense.
katana, right, throughout the game, or do you get other?
Yeah, you just get a katana, but you eventually get 5 abilities. One is like dash through them, like straight cut up. One is like you throw a slash.
Okay.
I mean, 4 of them are pretty identical. The last ability that you get is mind control. You can look at one guy and change his mind. He will start shooting at his enemies.
Okay.
And
And
he ends up
do
killing,
the
like,
other
90%
enemies
of
like
them.
when he's shooting, they all die in one hit? It's all one hit kills, right?
Yeah,
Sub
it's
killing.
the katana. It's one hit. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Oh.
but it gets messed up because 99% of the time it's not going to be that easy. Most of the enemies sit under a like shield. There's like this circle power thing that you have to go destroy first. Then you can
Oh,
actually go and hit those guys. Alternatively, they're like this huge guys who have like a shield on a 180-degree around them, and the only way you can kill them is go behind them. But by the time you go behind them, you're already being shot up by multiple stuff, and they're also going to rotate. And if you by mistake just touch the shield, you're going to be thrown off like back, and that gets messed up when you're in an open area because you're going to be thrown down. So it's a really hard game. I hated it at first, but by the time I ended the game, like even Jay Bhaiya knows this. I'm like, Jay Bhaiya, I hate this game. And you're like, Jay Bhaiya, I love this game. Like it gets good. The story gets good. I mean, I love
Hey,
the
it's a
game.
story,
and it's underrated.
Is the story
the
actually
story is really good. I
Like,
can like,
yeah.
it's really good. It's really good. I love the story. The ending cutscene was like really touching. Just touches everything that it needs to touch. And if you're talking about a platformer game, holy shit, that's the best I've played this year. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, but isn't the game too reliant on the trial and error gameplay loop? Like you said, like you died like 140 times at a boss. So you died 140 times just to get that 10 seconds of satisfaction. Is it actually worth
Absolutely.
it? In Dark Souls, you die, it's frustrating, but it's sort of like a learning opportunity. You know,
You also get
learn
better.
new moves. Yeah. But in Ghostrunner, it seems that there's like maximum 2 ways to approach any situation. So even if you mess up a teensy bit, you die, and you have to just try to play again just to get that perfect loop. So isn't that kind of the whole, like basing a whole game around that whole shtick kind of like?
I'll defend that. I'll defend that for Opar. I'll defend that for Ghostrunner over here. So the thing is that Jay is kind of right. It is, of course, it's like a error and trial, kind of a loop over there. But I'll compare it to like a dance. It's like a dance move that you're continuously, practicing, and then you have to get that one time just right, and that is when the magic happens. The whole gameplay loop is about finding the right area, finding the right path to go forward, approaching an enemy in a particular direction, taking a particular time to go in a place, platforming to the correct ledge. It's magnificent when it works right. When it doesn't, it's a mess.
How many types are there to approach a situation, Sushil or Upar? Like, for example, in Dark Souls, it's really difficult, but you
Right.
have like multiple builds, like innumerable builds that you can go with.
There are not multiple ways to approach, but the whole thing is about speed and your the motion in which you take an opportunity. Like, are you going to go to the left or going to go to the right? Are you going to swing now? Are you going to slide and go to kill another enemy and then come back? The levels are unique in that sense, that you can rotate, you can come back. The point over here is that it's like a mix between famous games like Super Hot and Mirror's Edge, and it combines the best of both of these games, and it takes it onto a whole different level. The whole
I
one
would
shot
counter
one
both
kill
of these.
is
I would counter that both of these games like they had like interesting ideas, but didn't do well because those ideas were not good enough. To be honestly speaking, that's
I
my
would say it
opinion.
wasn't executed well enough.
They didn't do well because it was repetitive. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean,
Super Hot
Like
This is not
Ghostrunner
the
is not.
Yeah, but this is not the first time a game does this. I mean, Hotline
Yeah.
Miami does that, like exceptionally
Right.
well. In Hotline Miami, so you see, the first few hours are like this. You know, you have to play each scenario multiple times, but after a while, you really get a sense of like how enemy moves. Like you. Before you get into a room, you are given the full window. You can see where the enemy patterns and shit, and you can plan a perfect run from there and execute it. But it seems like I like Ghostrunner though. But I have to say this: but every time, every new encounter is like doing the same shit all over again. You never learn anything. Like
अच्छा
like
you already
before
know
every
what
encounter-
needs to be done. बस वही है कि execute करने वाला. Is that the loop?
No, I mean not exactly, but you still get an idea. In Hotline Miami, like you plan a thing, but things can go wrong, but there is a plan. Like like you can see some weapons like you can go there, you can plan a pathway and shit. But sometimes some things goes wrong. You can improvise on the spot, and I think to me that's more fun than like doing every dying 50 times before every encounter.
It's more fun than like I'll jump and let's see if I fall or not. Like it's that kind of a thing. And like after that jump, I'll think about jumping again.
It's true. The only way to gain knowledge in Ghostrunner is to die. The only way to gain knowledge in Ghostrunner is to die. You
But then
die
you
and you
could-
gain knowledge and you come back again.
But you could say that about like Super Meat. Like I'm trying to compare this to something like Super Meat Boy. Na like उसपे भी you would already know करना क्या है. The fun is in
Right.
being able to execute it. You might die like 10 times along the way, but you immediately
But in
because
Ghostrunner में नहीं पता ना Manas. Like that's what they're
No,
saying.
no, like that's not the point. The point is like you're saying कि तुम्हें पता है, so you don't. Trust me, you don't. You just see enemies,
Okay.
you just see grappling hooks. Trust me, you don't. Because this game doesn't tell you that you can deflect bullets.
okay.
Like it really doesn't. Because I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna try deflect. It deflected. He died. That changed the whole shit of the game. Now I have like another opportunity to like go in there, right?
Okay, so that
So
becomes
basically-
another way to kill the enemy if you can deflect it.
Right,
properly.
Right. So it opens up a window. It opens up for.
But the game never
opportunity.
tells you to or tells
like
you
is that available from the start?
Yeah,
It's like
it's right from the start. The thing is, if you've heard about the upgrades, it has double dash, double boost and stuff. So basically the thing is, if you're on the ground and you press shift, you're gonna dash. Okay? But if you're on the mid-air, you press shift, you do a like time shift thing because like where time slows down and you can like go left and right, back and forth real quick. So these are the stuff which are gonna stay with you at all the time, at like every microsecond, because this game really needs you to be focused every single point second. And I think that's the whole intention of the game. It wants you to be polished, not like 10 baar maro. I mean, it's okay, even I died. But the thing is, when I ended the game, I was letting my brother play it and he sucked. I like, kya chal raha hai? Then I took over
Obviously.
and I didn't die. For the first sea level, I didn't die, and I was like, the first time I played, I died like 40-50 times. I mean, it tones you, and trust me, the whole combination of parkour, dash, killing, pattern, it creates a good experience.
Yeah.
Whatever you're saying that you didn't die for the first half or something like that. That should have been in a later mission, like by mission 8 or mission 10, when you
Right.
spent enough time
It
down
it
and
gets good. The point is, the game keeps on offering you stuff. You literally have a whole like proper katana battle within like like equal. That was like magnificent. It was kind of easy, but that was magnificent. But the thing is, the game keeps on throwing stuff at you. I mean, there's one cons that I can discuss myself. Is like this one synthetic guy who has just one job: come up to your face, blow up. Can't do shit about it. All you can do is run, and running sometimes get like really messed up. So yeah,
like running is it's in the name, Ghostrunner. Like that's what you're supposed to do.
I mean, out of the 5 days you played the game, 4 days you hated it, and the last day you said it's great. I mean, maybe it took you
He said it's
that
great
long.
after he finished it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now that it's over.
I'm dying so much, but I don't know. I think a lot of the attention has been poured into this game just because of the visual style, the visual,
Yeah,
I agree.
shiny, blah, bling, bling, cyberpunk thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that the game is not good. It is good. I played it, but I don't know. Just
But you're
Okay.
saying it's bad.
Right.
I'm
So
not
now, guys, something interesting has happened. We have discussed 5 games now,
Yeah.
right? So every other game that we will discuss from now on is going to take the place of a game on that list,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So the discussion is going to be whether which game that game is supposed to replace on that list, right? So right now the list looks like Doom Eternal, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Hades, Ori and Will of the Wisp, and Ghostrunner. Those are the 5 games that we've discussed, right? So moving on from now, whatever game that we discussed has to replace a game on the list, on the top 5.
Okay.
You know,
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
so you need to make sure which game you want to replace it with too.
All I would recommend here is like choose on the basis of debate instead of like your personal preference. That would be better.
yeah, that and by that,
So, like
that
Jay
means
won't
you couldn't
leave.
even bring up Valhalla.
What?